episode of Coffee with the KAYES. If you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And take a listen. This episode is going to be great. Where I share a recipe at the very beginning for a new coffee cocktail called the Ginger Rush. I think you guys are going to enjoy that. We also talk about taking lessons as a teacher. One of us is starting to take lessons again, and we're going to talk about that and talk about some of the things that we've noticed as we start to learn, especially as we're getting older and we're taking lessons and we're trying to learn new skills. What are some things that we can do to make that the best that it can be and enjoy that process? So we're going to cover all of that in this episode. Also, the draft just happened, so we got the Cleveland Browns on our minds, and we're talking about how they did in this draft and how they're going to do in this upcoming year. So that's going to be a lively discussion. So join us for that towards the end of the episode. So grab a cup of coffee and listen to Coffee with the KAYES.
All right, so we are making a ginger rush. I've got my espresso from the Nespresso machine right here. And this is their new over ice double espresso, the vanilla flavored espresso. So I've got 3 double shots right here, ready to go. We've got the sugar-free ginger beer, the Barrett's sugar-free ginger beer, and I've got cream right here that's been frothing up. It looks like that's probably ready to go. Look how creamy that is. That's good. All right, so let's give this a shot. We're gonna pour this in about that much, about halfway. Okay. The ginger beer has a little bit more spice to it than ginger ale. I've heard you could use both. It just depends on what you like. All right, so there we go. We got that. Now this is the tricky part, because now we're gonna float this on top. And the last time I did this, I messed it up. So let's see if we can do it. Here we go. Float. Whoops. Oop, there it goes, there it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Oh, we're good. Just like that. There we go. Yeah, get some of that cream on top. Look at that. It's like a milkshake, okay? The espresso on top. I'll clean that up. Then we put the cold heavy cream, not milk, heavy cream on top. And you could cold foam it if you want. I have that little nano foamer, but this works just fine. And we're just gonna float that on top as well. Just like that. Just like that. Just a little bit. And just like that. And of course you could just drink it straight like this, but I think it's better to do it in the straw. Dad, do you want a straw or you want to just drink it?
The straw is good.
Straw's good.
Straw's good.
Straw's good. Okay, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna just drink it. This is mine. I'll
Okay.
give you guys the fancy cups. Ginger Rush.
Ginger Rush. Ready to podcast?
Yes.
All right, welcome to Coffee with the KAYES, episode 2 of season 6. Here we are. All right, so ready to try it?
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
All right, let's do
we're
it.
going to tell them what we're trying?
No, because we did the video already. I'm going to put it at the beginning of the episode so then everybody knows what
Okay,
we're
so
trying.
you know it's
That's
very
tasty.
yummy. I've been drinking this almost every single Sunday for the last several weeks.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that good?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's like a coffee milkshake, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very tasty. I
Yeah.
love it. And it's refreshing.
Yes, good summertime drink.
Yes. I'd almost want it colder, but I don't know. Sorry.
She's
Sorry.
easy to please, isn't she?
I know, right? That's it. Like, cold.
It's
The coffee's not hot enough. The
Yes.
drink's not cold enough.
But it's just because it's really hot outside today.
Yeah.
So that's
well, I suppose what I could have done is I just made the espresso shots and just left them in the cups and let them cool that way. I could have put them in the freezer and cooled them. You know.
Next time.
So yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, the problem is if you leave it in there too long, then you lose that
The
crema
foamy
from
stuff.
the top. Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't want to do
Can't do
that. Right. I didn't want
No.
to do that. So like when I do the espresso martini, it doesn't matter as much because I'm shaking it, and that would be the thing to do. Shake it in ice. If I did the espresso shot in ice and put it in the shaker and then put it on it
Yeah.
next time.
Yes, so it's
See, we're
very
workshopping
nice.
this stuff in
There
real
we
time
go.
here. Yeah,
But it's nice to try some different types of coffee drinks. There's I follow a fellow on Instagram that does all these, coffee drinks, and then I send Josh all the recipes.
Do you have his name? We could shout him out.
I have to. It's Mustafa.
Mustafa.
Yes.
All right,
And
Mustafa.
He's
Double
just
espresso.
Yes, that's
double
it.
espresso.
Double espresso.
Mix very nice. It's Mustafa_Fatih91.
Okay. There
There
we
it
go.
is. But
There we go. Shout out.
I just
He knows
love,
what he's doing. He makes good
does.
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
really, it's great, and he's entertaining, and he does a lot of just interesting recipes with coffee.
Yeah.
And he's just very fun to watch. I like his
Yeah.
accent.
Yeah.
Kind of
We've met a lot of new
ideas.
people though that that are coffee people, and we've met coffee people that are musicians together.
There you go.
Those two.
Good combination.
Yes, and then
Yeah.
we find we've met musicians who like the Browns.
Yeah.
Not as popular.
Did we?
That Venn diagram
Yes.
gets
I was like, I'm like, who
Yes.
did we meet? I'm like,
Yes, no, we did. We had a student, and he was
Yeah.
from Ohio.
Okay.
And so anyway,
Speaking of students, I just want to shout out Landon Caraway, graduating. Landon Caraway,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Landon Caraway.
I mean, what
Yeah.
He's
what a go-getter,
graduated.
man.
Yeah.
UWF.
Well, Landon was one of my first students ever, and I don't even know.
he probably was your first student.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's an interesting guy because he's kept up with his musicianship.
Mm-hmm.
His mom's got his videos of him playing the piano
Oh, yeah.
all over social media,
Yeah.
And he's really good. So
He's
I mean,
really good.
he's come such a long
Yeah.
way as far as a musician.
When it's always funny whenever she posts those little Landon videos.
Oh,
you
he's
know,
so
and stuff.
cute,
And
yeah.
that was it, and just how far he's come. But
Man.
he's definitely one of the things that was really cool is he took that. There's a medley at the end of the Abbey Road album. The Beatles album, because the Beatles thought that was going to be their last album. It was supposed to be their last album, so they wanted to have this medley of songs that just went from one right into the next, and it kind of featured everybody, So he said he wanted to play that, do like a solo version of that on the piano, and we had the music.
But it wasn't written as a medley.
No, yeah. I mean, the pieces were written individually, but the idea was that it was going to be played like a medley.
Oh, okay.
But what was funny is when he said he wanted to take this on, I was like, yeah, this will be a good challenge. It's like 7 or 8 songs. This is going to be a lot, but it'll be fun. I think you could do it. I'm looking at the arrangements. I'm like, there's some challenging things, but I don't think it's that hard. And then what he did though, when we started going through it, was both of us going through it together. It was like there was some like kind of lame decisions in the arrangement, ways that they wrote things out where it was like, oh, we could do that better,
Right.
And then he started going, well, what if I add in a like an improvised solo in this section, and what do you think about doing this, and changing this bass line, and and then he's listening to the songs and getting ideas because there were parts, instrument parts that were not notated. He's like, so I figured out that there's this sound and this instrument plays this part.
Oh,
You think
it
I
was
can
very
incorporate
cool.
it?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a massive project. And when he finally finished it and he got it, the way that he wanted it to sound, he played it all the way through. I mean, I told him, I was like, that was the best thing you've ever done. I mean, that was the
amazing.
best piece you've ever played. And I think it wasn't just the performance and the playing aspect, because there's a lot to be said for being able to string all of that music together.
Yes. He had a lot of it memorized.
Yeah.
Because right towards the end, you were sick, and I had to sit in like two weeks in a row with his lesson, and he'd say, okay, well, we're going to do this, but be aware, measure such and such, I do something totally different, and then I'm going to just not turn the page because I got all this part memorized, and I flipped to this and stuff, and it was like, it was
well,
very
and that
impressive.
was stuff we had to figure out too,
Yeah.
because it was like, all right, how do we get from this section to this section? Where do we have time to make page turns? What's going to make the most sense? And just all of that stuff. And so
it was very cool.
It was an excellent thing, but for him to put that together was pretty awesome. So so we're really proud of him. He's graduating from UWF, and he's got a minor in music, and
cybersecurity, going into cybersecurity. So
Yeah.
You're
it's
going to
gonna be really
succeed.
good. Absolutely.
It's exciting. You know, it's part of the joy of what we do is watching these musicians grow up. And then, you know, I have a little girl now that's 7, and I taught her dad. He took voice lessons from us years
Boy,
back.
you're old.
I know. But it's so cool that he grew up and had kids and
Yeah.
wants them to come to us for lessons. And that's really exciting, touching these different generations. It's
Yeah,
really
and we
good.
have to welcome Billy and his daughter back.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great because they
And-
were with us a while, and
Yeah, yeah,
and
been-
They're
now
doing
back.
great.
Mhm.
yeah, coming back for banjo lessons and voice lessons. So
Yep.
yeah, that's good. That's
It's
good.
terrific. You know, and I was thinking about the podcast, and we're like, well, what should we talk about? And we didn't really make a plan of what to talk about, but I just think that you're not too old to start an instrument. And I think that becomes a common thing that people think, well, I should have done it when I was a kid, but you know, I'm too old now or whatever. And we got a lot of students most of our students are over 18. So if you looked at, like, if you consider that being an adult,
Yeah.
that would be the marker. But we really have more students that are adults than that are children. And that's kind of exciting because these are people that, for the most part, tend to be pretty committed to wanting to get better. That's
Yes,
why they're
that's
doing
a-
this
yeah,
later
A
in
key
life.
trait that they all
Yes,
have
they
in
all
common.
have in common. And
Yeah.
and we get a lot of students that have experience playing an instrument, but they kind of shortcut. They can do certain things because but they never learned to read music. They didn't really understand rhythm or theory, and so now filling in the gaps, and it's exciting. Or they played the piano, but they never played, guitar or something. Like, I'm taking guitar lessons again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a hell of a teacher.
I do, but it's very good for me to do this because it puts me in that student role again, and then I really relate to my students. So then when they say, really, I did practice, I'm like, I believe you, because I say that.
They're like, I know that feeling.
No, I'm not giving up.
That's
Ron
it.
said he would buy me a new guitar.
You're going to hold me to that, right?
If I stick to it a year, and I am, and I'm learning. It's
How
a
many
lot
years
harder.
have you been saying you were going to do this?
A lot of years, and
yeah.
I've started like 3 other times, and I quit. I'm a terrible student. I think I'm a good teacher, but I'm really not a good student. So I'm doing really good as a student. I'm learning how to be a
Rock
student.
Guitar was from 20 years ago?
At least more than that.
Are they even still in business? I don't think
I
they
I
are.
don't.
think
They
I
were
bought
part
out
of Alfred.
Little Kids Rock or something.
no.
And
Okay,
they
yeah.
were part of Alfred too for a while.
Daisy
so I don't
Rock,
know
yeah.
Daisy Rock.
Daisy
But
Rock, yeah.
They my guitar is pink, so it's very nice. I mean, it's pretty and it's
a
fun
good
to
guitar,
play. It is a
yeah.
good guitar, but I just I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but I'm not giving up. And this last week, I practiced every single day. Now that's a lot when you're working 2 jobs. Now, I'd had to get up early and get the dishes done some mornings because I practiced that at night. But I did it.
Yeah,
every
but see,
day.
that's the thing though. Is you made
adjust your
changes.
schedule.
Yeah, you made changes. To accommodate this new thing that you've added into your
Right.
life, and I think that's where if there is people that end up in the same kind of situation where they want to start an instrument, start lessons, and they're older, not kids,
Yeah.
you got to realize that you're adding something new into your life, and so then you have to make adjustments to create the time, because the time isn't going to come from anywhere. I had a student earlier this week. I had this conversation with her because I said, you didn't practice yesterday. This was the day before a lesson, right? You didn't practice yesterday, but your entire day was full. So, well, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was, because see, you didn't have any time to
had no
practice.
time.
So your
that's so
entire
funny.
day was full. So now let's look at what you did during that whole day. Okay,
no.
we went down all the list of stuff, and it was like, all right, so out of everything that you did, where is that practice time going to come from? You're going to have to give up something that you did yesterday to make time for practice. Well, and that was
Yeah.
it was the
Dum,
it was the
dum,
phone. No, it was because it was like, oh yeah, we were scrolling on TikTok for 2 hours, and it's like, yeah, so now you got to stop doing that so that you can make time for practice, and so that's how you get the most success is making sure that you work it into your regular life, taking time away from other things to make time for this, and then you got to be consistent with it,
And you can waste a lot of time on social media.
Oh yeah.
I mean, before you know it, it could be 2-3 hours.
Absolutely.
It's designed to do that. That algorithm's feeding you stuff to keep you interested, to keep you going. And you got to understand, this is a trap, man. You're just going to get sucked into it and lose out on what you really want to do in life.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it doesn't matter whether you're a teenager or you're an adult. I think everybody can fall into that.
Yeah.
And, it's too much of anything is a bad thing. So, I think managing your time on social media, YouTube, apps, things like that is important when you're trying to pursue other interests,
Yeah, it has to be a priority of sorts, is what we always say. It's not, brain surgery. Nobody's going to die if you don't practice.
Mm-hmm.
However, it has to be up there in your list of daily, objectives, and you got to commit to it. And if you do that, you'll succeed.
Well, this week I think the biggest thing for me was realizing that at the beginning, the first several lessons, even the first couple of months, I started at the end of December, middle of December. And now it's almost May. It'll probably be May by the time we put the podcast out. So the beginning, I was passing 2 pages a week, sometimes it was 2 songs, sometimes it was 3 songs.
Making lots of progress.
And I was like, every week I was passing. And now I've been on the same 2 songs for like 3 weeks. And I'm really struggling with them.
That happens.
Yes,
There's like little steps, and then there's steps that take a lot to get by.
Well, and
it's supposed to get, incrementally more difficult.
Yes.
And sometimes that next step is a bit away. You got to work to get there. You know? And if you're just kind of waiting to get there, it's not going to happen.
No, and that's what this week I did. I committed to more practice, but I also realized that I have some more advanced students and even not so advanced students that don't pass their songs in a month. And it's not because they're not practicing. It's because the songs are hard. And then we were talking about our expectation level. If we hold a certain expectation, so if I have a student playing a song and they're pretty much getting the notes and the rhythm, but they're not doing dynamics, they're not doing any articulation.
That's a whole new ballgame.
So now I have to decide, do we do it another week? Well, yeah, it's worth it. It is worth it to put that musicianship into it and to get it. So then I was thinking about my own practice, and I just want to pass these songs, and I thought that's the wrong attitude.
Yes.
I need to gain the skills that these songs are teaching me, and clearly it's taking more time. Then I hear Josh's voice in my head. It's a certain number of repetitions. You might be 3 away from it.
You sure that wasn't
and you're
my
gonna
voice?
Stop.
Yeah. I said it.
It's like both of you on each shoulder go. No.
Yeah. Well, because I would say it's a certain number of repetitions that it takes before you can finally get the skill. If it's 500 reps that it takes and you're at 450, oh my God, I did 450 and I still don't have it. And it's like, well, you're 50 away. So it's,
you don't know what that number is.
No.
And then, sometimes I was telling him yesterday, I sit down to practice and I can't do anything. I feel like I'm getting worse and worse and worse.
See, that's all in your head.
Yes.
I know.
And that hinders your practice.
It does.
So I listen to that.
I did put it down, and then I came back to it, and then I played everything. I played both songs at 56, 76, and I can almost get the one at 96. So I'm probably going to have it this week, but then that's the problem. I say that I'm going to have it this week,
right,
and then if I don't, I get so discouraged.
Yeah,
you're your own worst enemy when it comes to practice. You beat yourself up over nothing.
I do.
I'm telling you constantly, let it go. That's not that big of a deal. You'll get it.
I know.
Just keep at it.
So it is
stay
very
consistent.
good. My point is, it's excellent as a teacher
Well,
to
what-
go back to the role of a student.
What you're
It's helping
describing,
me.
though, is what a lot of students experience,
Yes.
are adult students, and particularly, I don't know how else to say this, just particularly the older generation of students, okay? Because I think...
What is he saying?
I know. But let's just call a spade here, okay? Because that's what it is. You are further removed from your traditional schooling than me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And see, for me and of course too, then I went and did college and masters and whatever, and that wasn't all that long ago. You know what I mean? So the idea of receiving schooling, right, and having to practice and work and stuff, like that's a relatively new experience to me, whereas people that have been out of that environment for 30 years, you forget what it's like to learn.
That
I don't
plays
know. I
into
mean,
where people say, well, I'm just going to take a little time off.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
When you break that pattern,
That's
Yeah.
it.
and you get out of that rhythm, coming back is a big hill.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's why people quit high school. Most of them never go back.
Yeah.
Because they got out of the discipline and the regimen of learning. And
Right, the routine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, for me personally, I really do love learning. And as a teacher, every year I set goals for myself of new things I want to do and learn and try. So I do continue that, probably more than the average person. I think if I wasn't a teacher, maybe that would be more accurate. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not saying that people don't learn, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's
you
an uphill
read an
battle.
article of something that, and you learn about how, your body breaks down blood sugar. And, I didn't know that. I've learned something new today. That's not the same thing as learning an instrument, learning a discipline.
Oh, okay.
That's, I'm not
because
saying that.
it's a collective progression.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's something you have to continue to work at. And you have good days and you have bad days,
Yeah.
and you have to receive the instruction. You have to understand the instruction. You have to then apply it to what you're actually doing when you go to practice. And it's something that you have to continue to feed on a day-to-day basis, and there's not a whole lot besides work that we do that with, right? And so, if when you're in school, you kind of understand that because you go to school every day, you know what I mean? But then when you're out of school and you've got work, and you do that for all these years, I think you kind of forget how the learning process works, the process of learning. It's not just learning facts every day,
Right. No, I guess so. Yeah, it is. But I mean, it's
But then
it's
we
exciting.
have older students such as Summer, who, he's just a bulldog, man.
Oh, yeah.
He stays at it. He
Yeah.
keeps coming back and keeps charging,
Yeah.
and he's succeeding, and it's because of that determination. I mean, he's a veterinarian, so he knows what discipline is.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
knows what hard
yeah.
work is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's exciting and inspirational
Yeah.
to see him making progress and not getting discouraged and keep going, overcome these things,
Right,
No,
absolutely.
it's good. I mean, I think it's really good for your brain to do something like this on many
Yeah,
levels.
you can stave off dementia.
There you go.
It's
Well, there's studies that have been done that prove that that's what
Yes.
happens,
Yeah.
And it is also, when I'm practicing the guitar, I can't be thinking about school the next day or what my next lesson's going to be, or where I have to think about what I'm doing. And he'll tell me when I do my lessons, he's like, concentrate, focus. These kids, they think they're the only ones that have trouble focusing. I have to close the blinds, because if a bird flies by the window, I get so distracted.
Your ADHD kicks in? Yeah.
Everyone. I'm like, I think everyone's ADHD. I mean, unless it's just me, but I get so easily distracted.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing.
No, talk about distraction.
I'm sorry.
right?
Is there a bird flying by here?
Well, there was,
Yeah,
but
that's-
this is so funny to me. This week, several times, I'm teaching little kids, like I say 10 and under. Like I had, maybe both of them were 7 or 6. It was 2 different days. It might have been 3, but anyway. The point was, the phone rang. Okay, not a big deal, right? The phone rang. We have a landline, and it rings, and then Ron picks it up in the other room. They didn't know what that was. They hear that noise and like,
Yeah.
what's that
What is
noise?
that? Yeah.
And I said, that's the phone. And they were like, your phone didn't ring. I said, okay. Then I had to explain yesterday to this little girl what a landline was. She was having trouble even
Why would she have
understanding.
any reason to
Your
know?
phone plays when the levee breaks?
I know, right? Yeah. It's like,
No, but I mean, it was just the regular ring on the
I know.
phone
Yeah, it
plugged
does
into
that
the
first,
wall.
yeah.
She was
Yeah.
like, it's plugged into the wall. I mean,
yeah.
and then
Why would she have any reason to know what a landline
I
is?
don't know. I,
that's-
thought
A lot
that
of
was
people don't have
remarkable.
landlines.
most people, I would venture to say, yeah.
Her dad was sitting there going, I never had a landline. Like, because
Yeah.
he's your age. He's like 34,
Yeah, that's what I'm
35.
saying. I don't have a landline.
Nope,
I mean,
didn't know. And then the grandmother was there, so we had multiple generations. And she said, "Oh, and you have one of those newer landlines because it's cordless. Remember when we
Yeah.
couldn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
a cordless one? We had to,
yeah,
you
I
just
grew
had
up
to
with those.
scream
Yeah.
like, telephone, somebody get the phone. You
Yeah,
know, it
yeah.
was anyway."
Well, and if there were multiple phones in the house and one person was on the phone, you went to go make a phone call, you pick it up and you'd hear the conversation.
Yes.
And be like,
Yeah.
you
And that
get
was-
off the phone, I gotta make a phone call.
No, that's funny because there was a thing on the news that talked about different generations. How did you know you were rich?
Mm-hmm.
And back in the 60s, if you had 2 phones, you were like a rich person.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was okay. We can go back to music. I digress.
That was an interesting diversion right
It
there.
was. It just
Talk
was-
about distraction.
Yes, see, I'm telling the truth.
We're leaving all of this in here, by the way.
Double
we're
es-
not
double
cutting.
espresso.
We're not cutting any of this out. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, yes, it's important. I think that it's something that teachers neglect. This is one of my pet peeves with just teachers in general is we neglect the fact that it's important for everyone to continue to partake in the learning process.
Yeah.
And as teachers, it's easy to stop doing that because you're doing it all day long, right? You're teaching all day long and, then you stop
You
trying
want a break.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think then, sometimes you forget what it's like to be a student. And it's important to remember that and still have that perspective, of what people are dealing with when they try to take on these challenges,
It's been great. I will say. It's been great for me, the process.
They've been doing good.
Yeah.
So you got to stay with it, though.
I will. I'm getting a new
I
guitar
think she
in
will.
December.
She's
Yeah.
focused,
I know. Yeah.
She
I
wants
just...
I want a Gibson.
A baby Taylor or something.
Oh, my
Got your
God.
eyes
Baby
on.
Taylor? Really? Baby
No,
Taylor?
it-
That's the one?
No,
Okay.
I like the Taylor Company, but Sean said there's like a small Gibson parlor or something that he thinks I would like.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, parlor size is usually the body's a little bit smaller, the neck's the same length.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm not making any,
It's primarily the action she's talking about.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Ease of playing.
His guitar is easier for me to play. Mine, even though you
Which
fixed
one is
it,
Martin? I mean,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a Martin.
$800 guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Martin. So is it? What? Somebody posted that I didn't answer it, but somebody posted on Quora and it popped up in my feed that they wanted to know if a Martin was worth all the money. Was it?
Yes.
Worth it? And I was kind of like, yeah.
Unequivocally,
I mean,
yes.
there's plenty of times where there's certain guitars and companies and whatnot, and we always say, oh, you're paying for the name and something like that. But having now owned a Martin myself, yeah, it's everything it's cracked up to be.
and
It
it's
really
probably
is.
gotten like the more you've had it and play it, it sounds even.
Well, when you
better.
get
Yeah.
when you get the solid top, or
Yeah.
solid body, I mean, yeah, that's
It's
exactly
nice.
what happens. It continues to get better.
They've been around forever.
Oh, I know.
Caveman days.
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely. early
What do you
1990s.
got there? Was the Martin.
Martin. Guy named Martin sold it. That's it. Yeah. I mean, I have too many guitars, but
Yeah, you got a bunch.
I can't get rid of them. Look, it's
It's like children.
it is. It's like which one?
Can't get rid of them.
I just can't. It's no. So like and I even tried to be like, okay, I'm gonna make room because the last time I moved and I had to move all the guitars and drum sets. We're not gonna talk about that.
it's a disease.
But I was like, I gotta clear it out. And then what happened is, in getting them ready to be like, I'm going to give these to people or try to sell them or whatnot, I changed the strings and cleaned them up, and
they play like no.
Oh man, it's such a great guitar. I love it.
No wonder I like this
the
guitar.
sound, and this one looks really good. And
Well, and then you get even. You've got like memories attached to certain guitars, and so then it's a whole thing. Like you can't get rid of your first guitar, and then you have your first electric guitar, and then you have an electric guitar.
Well, the one electric guitar that was my first electric guitar. My first, it was a Sunlite. It was the first electric guitar. I thought it was dead. I was like, I'm just going to throw it away because there was no sound and it wasn't working, and I had left it out, and like the sun had like totally yellowed all this stuff, and it was rusted, and it was just it was a mess. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, I'm gonna try to see if I can replace the pickups, and let's see if this works. And so in replacing the pickups, I was able to like clear a lot of stuff off it, clean it up, change the strings.
Upgraded too,
right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now it's playing and it's beautiful, and the action is great, and it's like, oh man, it's like a new guitar.
I've always felt like Sunlite guitars are highly underrated.
Yeah.
I've had students that brought in Stratocasters, and I'd be playing in Sunlite. It sounds just like their Stratocaster.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, well, what'd you pay for yours? Oh, $2,000. What'd you pay for yours? I think it was like $150.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm sure it's not that much now, but price comparison.
Yeah, it was very low price point.
You can't beat it. So
that's it.
All right, we're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back.
Ron Kaye's music instruction has been trusted by thousands in Pensacola to learn, play, and love music. Our strong passion for teaching music provides expert knowledge and guidance, which helps you succeed and have fun with your music lessons. Whether it's a bucket list dream or a desire to enhance your child's life, our music lessons are the answer. Call 850-453-9966 now. Realize your musical dreams. Visit musiclessonspensacola.com today.
All right, welcome back.
And we're back.
We're back.
Yes,
all
we're
right.
back.
So we're going to talk the draft now?
Yes. Let's talk, talk the draft, or talk about the Browns in the draft.
Yes, that will be, this is the Browns portion.
Yes.
The football portion of our podcast.
There we go. So the draft just happened. We're kind of still reeling from it. It was exciting. In the end, it was not exciting as it was happening.
No, it wasn't.
As it was happening, we were all screaming and yelling. And so by the time it finished,
what are they doing?
Yeah, the third day, then it was like, oh yeah, okay, now we're good. So
yes,
yeah,
it was crazy.
But it just started out with the Browns trading out of the second pick. They had the second pick. Everybody thought, well, they're going to take either Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders, right? And with the second pick. And so then they move out of the second pick, going to 5, and we're like, okay, what are we doing? And everybody said, oh, it was so smart because they got this massive haul of picks, and they got Jacksonville's number 1 next year and all this stuff.
Because we got more picks for this year,
right,
because of that trade down.
Right.
But we didn't get Travis Hunter, and we didn't get Cam.
No, so we got
his name?
Cam Ward.
Ward was the other.
So we got defensive tackle Mason Graham from Michigan, which is he seems like he's a good player. He was projected to go high. It wasn't like they reached for him or anything like that.
It just was surprising. I'm sure he's great. He seems like a nice fella and everything, but it was surprising.
I think we were all shocked.
Everyone was shocked.
It was a very subdued video of Stefanski and
I know.
Barry. Like, welcome to the Browns.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know.
I'm really excited to have you here.
It was so weird. And they asked him, like, are you ready to be a Brown? And his response was like, okay, I guess. Yeah, that was it. It was like, what?
If I have to.
Yeah, what are we doing? Like,
let me take this sharp dart out of my head.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
I'm sure he's excited to be in the NFL, and he's going to play. He's going to play.
Well, and you would have to think with these guys, any of these high prospects, the reason why you would go early is because the team was not good last year. You know what I mean? So you kind of know.
Gosh, here we go.
Like,
it's building time.
Right. They got
round 2, there were 2 picks. They got a linebacker, Carson Schlesinger from UCLA.
He has a good reputation too.
Yes.
Yes.
And then running back Winshawn Judkins from Ohio State, which I was really excited about.
We like him.
Yes, he did really good in Ohio State.
Yes. Buckeye.
Yes.
Good.
So then we're into round 3, and of course, Shedeur Sanders is still there. We don't have a quarterback. We're all kind of like, okay, we're talking like we're tanking for Arch Manning next year. I remember telling you that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this is very clear.
And everyone's still talking about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because next year already.
Right.
I'm like, let's do a year. Let's get.
But that's
this.
what it was looking like, because it's like, here we go. We've got, we're just going to ride Joe Flacco the entire year. I don't think that's what they're doing. So then we're just going to tank. And so then they go into round 3. And in round 3, tight end Harold Fannin Jr.,
he has a good reputation.
Has a good reputation. He had the most receiving yards out of all the tight ends in college last year and all that stuff. And then we go to round 3 and they announce quarterback. Okay, here we go. Quarterback Dillon Gabriel.
Woo! Dillon.
Like, who? Like, who is that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who that is. And then this is the guy that lost to Will Howard, who's still on the board. Like, what?
He played for Oregon.
Yes.
And
he's 5'11", left-handed,
yes.
and hates playing in the cold.
Well,
welcome to Cleveland.
Yeah. We still don't know him. He was happy. His family was very excited. It was very sweet when they showed him getting the call and everything. It was nice. It looked very nice.
I think they need
nice
to drug
family.
test Stefanski and Berry.
What?
Come on, man.
Nobody,
what was going on?
They're like, oh, we're in lockstep, and you watch the video. They're not agreeing about nothing.
They
man.
did not look in lockstep.
Not at all.
They were definitely.
One's clapping and happy, and the other one's like,
yeah. No, it was funny.
So at that point, getting him, then that gives us 4 quarterbacks because we've got Flacco, Kenny Pickett, which nobody likes Kenny Pickett.
No,
I mean, and
nobody likes him.
all
Barry likes Kenny Pickett. He talks
the
all about
analysts
him.
and everybody's like, why did they trade for Kenny Pickett? So we have Kenny Pickett, we have
Joe Flacco.
We've got
Deshaun Watson's still on the roster.
Yes, he is.
He's not projected to play this year.
You
but we
never
don't know.
know. Stranger things have happened.
That's it.
and with
And
Cleveland,
now
are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know, right?
Maybe just starting quarterback.
Well,
And now we have Dillon.
if we get to the 4th string like we did last year, where they all got injured and everything, and sense. Like, I would understand if Miami got him. That would make sense. Then he would be, first of all, it's Miami.
Yeah, but Tua is left-handed.
Tua's left-handed.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
So the plays would match. That's what they were explaining to me about that.
Because that's why I couldn't figure.
Both of you about the left-handed, right-handed.
Because I couldn't figure out. You're not going to plug and play him. It's not going to be like, our main guy went down, so now we'll just shove him in there and he'll be able to finish the game.
And they built the whole offense around Watkins. Watson. I told you I get his name right when he starts making touchdowns.
Yes.
Still hasn't happened.
No, I can't blame you.
Right.
Yeah, Watson. Yes,
Watson.
No, but you're right. And then look at that. And so,
It's elementary, my dear.
Yes, there's no rhyme or reason to why they do what.
No, so we don't. And then
sense.
we kind of feel bad for Dillon because, we'll keep going.
Okay, all right. Well, so now we're in Saturday, okay? And we had round 4. We had a pick in the 4th round, a pick in the 5th, and then a pick in the 6th. Okay.
We had 3 more. Picks.
We actually I think we had 2 picks in the 5th, and then 1 in the 6th. Okay. So round 4 comes. They get another running back, Dillon. Dillon Sampson from Tennessee.
Yes.
Again, really good running back.
So now we have 2 running backs.
I think he was SEC Player of the Year last year.
Yes,
or
he was really good.
Yeah.
Which they were. I don't know why he didn't go higher up in the draft, but it makes me sad because I feel like now they're stacking the running backs and they want to kick. They want to
Screw Chubb.
Yeah, and we're gonna.
After he laid on his sword for Stefanski.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and all the injuries that he went through and overcame and fought through to come back.
And he's such a good guy, man.
He just seems like
he's
a really good
for
guy.
those of you that don't know, Chubb is a fan favorite for real. There's not a single Cleveland Browns fan that would be okay with him leaving, But
he's a free agent now, so but
if he does leave, I'm like, go to the Bucks, go to what I mean, go to Buffalo. Let's put him on it. Yeah,
go to the Steelers.
No, stop it. Absolutely, not even in joke.
If he went to the Steelers, they'd be Super
Oh
Bowl
my God,
champs,
man, that's it. It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
The latest that I heard is he is having talks with the Browns about signing a new contract. So he might be back, but it is probably going to be a fairly low contract.
Yeah.
And it's going to be because he can't get offers anywhere else right now. So
because he didn't play last year.
Who made the decision his career's over?
Because it's the third injury he's had in 2 years.
It's the second.
I thought it was the
It's the
second.
third.
It's the second.
I don't know.
Well, because he had that really bad one.
Right, and then he had this.
I see. No, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of his college injury because he had that real bad injury when he was at Georgia. Then he came back and he was, the amazing
Great.
Nick Chubb. And then
Shows he can do it.
That was it. But then he had the exact same injury again. Came back from that.
Yeah.
And then broke his foot. So
And he's squatting 500 pounds.
Yes,
now.
yes.
I mean, come on, man. What more does
So
that
this
guy have to
broken
do?
foot thing was unrelated to the knee.
It wasn't the knee
But,
thing.
Yeah, it was just a random
No, and I
thing.
think he can come back from it. I think he'll be fine. I
And
mean,
you see his mindset about
absolutely.
playing.
Absolutely.
He goes out there with that focus, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
And you don't want a guy like that in Cleveland.
Oh,
do you?
I know, right? Yeah.
Might catch on.
Well, then
Yeah.
that's been kind of a thing. It makes you a little bit sad, but these
Right.
two running backs are good. But
This is all the inside the mind of the Browns fan, okay? Because
very confused.
this is what's happening at this point of the draft, okay? Where we're all like,
What the heck?
What is going on? We're going to be tanking this year, and we're losing Nick Chubb.
so then, what happened next, Josh?
And all of a sudden, Cleveland Browns have made a trade. And they trade their picks with Seattle Seahawks for an earlier pick 5, and they gave up their 5 and 6. And then with the 144th pick, the Cleveland Browns select quarterback Shedeur Sanders.
We really needed a quarterback.
Man.
Well,
They're going to
we're
have to
happy.
build a bigger room.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
so
that's it. We got 5 now.
We have 5.
That's it. It's a crowded
Yes.
room.
Now and
They're
then,
going to
so
can a bunch of those guys.
Joe Flacco
that's
was
it.
40,
Is
by
he?
the way.
Oh,
Yes.
That's
so
good. Okay.
he,
Well, I respect Joe Flacco.
everybody
man.
loves Joe. Cleveland loves Joe.
Yes.
He's 40,
Yes.
and we don't know. And now Shedeur, Cleveland is loving him. We were all happy
come on.
about
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Well,
I'm all on him.
When
Absolutely.
he didn't go
Right.
in the first round,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, well, I heard rumors, man. The dude's talking
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff, and he's really cocky, and
Yeah.
and he looked like he was cocky,
Right.
And, okay, you're getting humbled, boy.
Right.
But then the second and the third rounds go by, I'm like, oh my god,
my
let's not
gosh.
torture the man.
Yeah, they
Yes.
were punishing him. It seemed
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
just really ridiculous, and I don't understand. And maybe I just haven't been around enough, but I don't understand the hate for his father.
Yeah,
for
me
Deion,
either. Not at all.
And the like, oh man, if you get Shedeur, you're gonna have to deal with Deion, and it's
Yeah.
like
The Sanders circus.
That's it. Anything I've seen from him is not anything unusual for a father wanting to take care of their son.
Yes.
I don't really understand,
What's
him
wrong
talking
with
about
that?
how he's going to have a role in where his son goes and making sure that he gets, put in the right places. I'm like, yeah, because Deion has been around for a long time.
Yeah, he knows
He
about
knows
his
all
stuff.
these guys. He knows
Right.
the stuff. He knows the system. And of course he's going to give his son the best advice
Sure.
for how to maneuver this area, this field, you
Yeah.
know? So I'm just like, I don't understand why that's a problem. You know?
And really, they talk about him being cocky. They're all cocky.
Oh yeah, every
I'm
single
sorry,
one.
all
That's a
of these-
prerequisite for being
Yeah.
a quarterback.
I know.
And in a quarterback that in the draft, I mean, you could name multiple names of people who came in. Baker came in very,
Yes.
very cocky, but
Yes.
that was part of what we loved about him. That
Johnny Football.
some
Johnny
people
Football.
call that
Oh my
confidence.
gosh, I
You know,
know.
it's a confidence
Yes.
thing. And then if they have the numbers and the stats to back it up,
Yeah.
what?
Well, and that was my thing is
Yeah.
he did.
Yes.
I mean, like I'm looking at he had like the highest completion rate out of all the quarterbacks in the league, you know? And all right, somebody was like, well, you know, most of those throws were, you know, 5 yards or more. And I'm like, okay, so what?
Yeah.
He was still making the completions and winning games.
Yeah.
So, like,
it's more than we've been doing.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
So now we don't know. And now, you know, then how do you feel if you're Dillon now?
Well,
Which Dillon?
Dillon.
Yeah, which Dillon? I know.
Dillon from Hawaii. Our quarterback, Dillon.
Well,
I mean,
that was my thought.
You'd be I felt so bad for him.
You would be so dejected.
Like, what the heck?
That would let the air out of your tires.
Absolutely. Like, what the heck?
Well, I just don't understand why we didn't draft a wide receiver. I
don't
feel
understand
like the
that
wide
either.
receiver pool at Cleveland
I kept
is
saying,
like
who's
one.
Joe Flacco going to throw to?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I know.
He's going to
You
throw
got
to Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy, and you got Cedric Tillman. That's about it.
Yeah.
He was great at Tennessee, but now you come to the pros, and it's a whole different world.
Yeah, it's different.
And you know, I haven't seen enough from him to say, oh yeah, that's our you know, our next guy. You know, that's
Jerry Judy's good at the long passes. Like, he's good at catching those long, and Joe Flacco throws those really long passes, and so that's a good combination.
Yeah.
But I just have to say, as someone who has not watched the draft and just always read about it later or looked at clips, I was really excited to watch the first day of the draft.
until you watched it.
That boring stuff,
Oh, it was
man.
horrible. And then people were telling
Oh,
me,
my
like,
gosh.
oh, did you watch it? It was so, because they know I like football. At school, I'm like, I couldn't stand it. The announcers just talk about nothing.
Killing
and then,
time.
And nonsense, and just laughing amongst themselves. And it's saying, like, Browns made their pick. And it's on the screen.
Yeah.
And they're just talking. Okay, let's break for a commercial. I was dying.
Yeah,
It was bad.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I think people like the stories.
I
you
don't.
know?
I mean,
it reminds me of like the Heisman ceremony. You know, where they like tell every guy's life story and all the, you know, where they came from, and it's all emotional and all that
No,
stuff.
that'd be more interesting than what this was.
Yeah.
we might have made it to like 7 because we watched the Patriots pick, and there were some
Giants.
others. The Giants.
Yeah.
I was very excited.
Abdul Carter going to the Giants. That
was good, but I
a good
wanted him.
pickup.
So all the ones that I was like had looked up that I'd wanted were like gone.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, I'm out of
Where
here.
did Travis Hunter go? Did he?
He went. He went to the Jacksonville.
Oh, that's right,
And that
that's
was
right,
kind
right.
of fun to watch it. He was very excited.
Yeah.
He's from Florida. He's from like West Palm Beach or something.
He had the right spirit, man.
He was very,
like that,
very
yeah.
excited, and
Yeah.
that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
That little clip there, he had a bright pink jacket on,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
looked real sharp, and his family was
He was
excited.
dancing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He was
That's
like
the way you do it,
tapping
man.
on the logo of the Jaguar on his way down and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was it was very fun to watch
Yeah.
watch that, and I'm happy for the Jags, which I really traditionally have never liked them because we went to 2 Browns Jags games live and
Fans were pretty
lost,
terrible.
and it was a miserable experience.
Oh,
being
here
a
comes some Browns
Browns,
fans.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, you really believe that?
Oh, geez, I
It
know.
was rough.
They were so obnoxious
It was
and
bad
loud and just
and
like
not very nice. And so
Yeah.
then, but I like what's his name, the quarterback,
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, I like
The guy with the
Trevor
hair.
Lawrence. They had the hair guy.
I like him too.
I like him.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think he'll
And
do better.
who do they have? ATN is on that team.
Yeah, Travis Etienne.
And then we had a Browns that went to his team. One of our guys went there last year. Well, most of these teams.
I know. I was gonna say
We're
like,
oh,
you
that's
know,
a former
they-
Brown.
Yeah, they all.
So
they all
we had
leave
we
and
had
go to other
several, and
teams.
so last year I enjoyed watching them. But then Trevor got hurt.
Oh, I forgot to say too. I didn't tell you guys. Shiloh. Sanders, you know, his other son,
Yes.
his other son. So he went to the Bucks.
Oh.
Now he was undrafted, but it was like shortly after the draft.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they called him. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
glad.
exciting.
so and so he was Dion. There was a video of him talking to his son about it, and he was like, "Oh man, this is going to be so great. I know, you know, Todd Bowles, you know, and he's very defensive minded, and you're going to do well there, and you know,
So he's a defensive player?
He's a safety. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. So how old is he? Is
I
he
think
younger
he's
than
younger.
Shedeur?
I think he's younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
like a year younger, 2 years maybe. I don't know.
Okay, well, interesting.
Well, it's going to be an interesting
Oh, it always
Yes.
is.
football season
Yes.
this year.
Yes.
You know, like Miles Garrett's like, oh, I don't want to stick around if it's going to be another rebuilding year.
Yeah, and then they're like, here's 140 million. What do you say now? I'm like,
okay, Cleveland.
It's a rebuild. It's gonna be great.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always wanted to go right to Canton.
Yeah.
Well,
Money has a way of changing perspective, I think.
They talked him into it.
Well, he said that he knew the plan and that he got behind it and he was cool with it. And so,
what plan?
If the plan was to draft Shedeur, and he was excited about that, but see, I don't think this was the plan. I think that there was a bit of luck that went into how they did in this draft, and that's just what happens.
I think so too. I think that the plan was not to get Shedeur, and then they were surprised he was still available, and then they
like,
had picks, and they're like, we're taking him.
Yeah.
And that's why there was
they'll be able to get him cheap now.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled for him, though.
Me too. I think he's going to be great. I think that he's going to fit in Cleveland very well. The fan base is going to get behind him. They are going to sell jerseys. I mean, one of the first posts the Cleveland Browns did was get your season tickets now, and I'm like, that's what you do. You're going to capitalize on that because everybody's going to want to see him. And so I think there's going to be some excitement now. Is that going to equate to wins? Well, I suppose we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
They beefed up the defense, which was a huge problem last year.
Yes,
so,
it was a huge problem.
We'll see if that makes a difference. And Stefanski's taking back play calling, so that'll make a huge difference.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, that's it.
Boy, I was holding my breath right now.
That's it. So we'll see. So we're excited. So there you go. That's going to be That's our major football talk for the time being, So
well, we want to put it out there that if you want to play in our fantasy football league, you need to say something to us so we can put you on the list.
Yeah,
whenever that starts, it's usually in we start talking about at the end of July.
Yeah, in August and September. Yeah, leading into September. So
absolutely fun times.
I'm getting tired of winning, man.
Oh yeah. Crazy. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been fun with Coffee with the KAYES. And thank you guys for watching, tuning in, listening to us. Be sure to check out our other episodes. Subscribe so that you guys don't miss future episodes. If you're interested in lessons, musiclessonspensacola.com is the place to go, and give us a call and we'll get you started and help you on your music journey. Intro and outro music is provided by Ron Kaye off his album K-Struction, and you can find that anywhere that you stream your albums. Thank you for joining us. We'll do this again real soon.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you on another episode of Coffee with the KAYES.